Greetings. Greetings to the General Conference leadership led by Bishop S.P. Chanza and Rev. S.R. Chanza, the ministry directors, the General 11 board members, the conference superintendents, Nomama Mongamelikazi, clergy and the entire FMCSA, and all the entire leadership of our movement, Free Methodist Church of Southern Africa. I greet you all. L Mkhangwana, serving under Eastern Cape Conference. Today I'm going to share just a quick message in the book of Timothy, first book of Timothy, chapter 2, verse 8, where Paul says, "You want every man in every church service to lift up holy hands without anger or dispute." There are few factors here I would like to share with the movement. In this verse, the Apostle Paul set an example for men in the church service or within the movement or within the church. In most cases, women are always put in the forefront when it comes to prayer. But in this verse, Apostle Paul is very specific that he wants men to lift up holy hands. In other words, as men, we also have responsibility to stand in the gap between our families and God, to stand in the gap between the church and God, and intercede on behalf of our movement, intercede on behalf of our families, stand in the gap, be a protective factor that protects our family. That is the first line of defense that is protecting our church or movement. And the Apostle Paul is very specific that man must stand in that gap and pray. However, for men to do that prayer or for men to lift up holy hands, there's something that is outlined there as a prerequisite. Number one, for men to lift up those holy hands, they must do away with anger. In other words, in these days in our country, there's a lot of GBV that is being experienced by either children or women in various capacities. But as a Christian man, most importantly, Apostle Paul is outlining that man, for them to lift up holy hands, number one, they must do away with anger. They must be without anger. Number two, they must be men without dispute. They must be men who are not found where there is a dispute. And when referring to a dispute, we are talking about a destructive dispute. Because sometimes there are constructive dispute. But in this case, Apostle Paul is very specific. For men to lift up holy hands, they must make sure they are without anger. Secondly, without dispute in the movement, so that man can be a protective layer between the church against all the powers and negativities, all the challenges that can come against the movement. Man will be there as a barrier to stand in the gap and protect the movement, and also protect their families, because men are standing in the gap, praying, being prayerful men, praying and lifting up holy hands, ensuring that when they do so, they meet those two prerequisites, that they are without anger or dispute. God bless you all. Ndingumntwana kaThixo, ndisindisiwe. Inkosi yoxolo inisikelele. Amen.